Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Teamwork. So, don't forget we're in that health and wellness phase. So today's session is no exception. We're in health and wellness. The session is called Build a Boot Camp. Build a Boot Camp. So you can kind of keep that in mind. If it's Build a Boot Camp, it must involve physical activity. And if that's what you guessed, you're absolutely right. It's all about incorporating some physical activity. So the overall goal is to get our kids to start thinking about incorporating more physical activity in their lives and learning new ways they can incorporate some physical activity in their lives without really having to go to a gym. These are things that maybe they can do at home to get a little exercise. All right, so we've been talking a lot about nutrition and diet and eating right and making good food choices. And of course, that ties hand in hand and goes hand in hand with physical activity. And you guys know that you got to eat right and you got to get exercise. So we're marrying the two, physical activity and nutrition, getting them to work together, getting them to think how those concepts work together for better health. All right, so we're going to get the conversation going. We're going to get the juices flowing with a nice healthy discussion about body image. And the kids right now are painfully conscious about their body image. And so how are we going to broach that conversation like this? Here's your question of the day. Do you think it's okay for magazines to Photoshop images? Ooh, that's a hot topic. If you don't know that, half of those images are all fake. They're unrealistic images, right? And what effect can these images have on society? And of course, we know a lot of times, many of us look at those images and those are things that we strive for. But hello, they're all fake, they're all airbrushed, they're all sliced and diced, and things are taken out, or things are shadowed in, you name it. But they're unrealistic images, and we want our kids to start talking about that, because of course, the eating right and getting exercise is not about trying to look like some of those images that they're probably been seeing in magazines. So we're going to give them a bunch of images to look at, like Katie Couric. We slimmed her down, or they slimmed her down. There's an image of one of the Kardashian sisters where on this magazine she's got a secret for losing 10 pounds in 10 days. And if you look at the before, those 10 pounds were there. But some way, somehow, they magically disappeared in the after. So, yeah, I can lose 10 pounds in 10 minutes with a little airbrushing, and so on and so forth. There's a Tyra Banks photo. There's photos of even some men in entertainment and in sports who've been photoshopped, and so on and so forth. So, just this discussion about these unrealistic images and the effect they have on society. All right? So that's your question of the day. This should be a good question. You guys will probably have a lot of fun, especially with the images. We got some good images for you. Next is your Energizer. Remember, your Energizer is optional, so think about that in this session. This is a nice, fun Energizer, but remember, I want the kids to really start incorporating physical activity in their lives. So maybe you do your boot camp first and then come back to your Energizer. Something to think about. But the Energizer is pretty simple. You're going to break your team up into two groups, and the goal is to create a healthy crossword puzzle. That's it in a nutshell. Create a healthy crossword puzzle. We give you all the prompts. They'll get a blank grid. They'll have to come up with 5 clues. 5 clues going down, 5 clues going across, right? So they're creating this crossword puzzle. And then they can, in this blank grid, they'll figure out where they want those words, how they're going to fall in this crossword puzzle, and then they can shadow in or shade in all the other spots that are not available, all right? Pretty simple. So we'll give you all the materials. There'll even be an example in there. But here's an example of mine. Running is an example of a blank activity. Running is an example of a blank activity. It was a clue going down, and mine was aerobic. So once the kids have created those with their 5 clues and the answer keys, they will swap, and the opposing team will have to try to complete that crossword puzzle. Just make sure that they don't swap answers too. So someone's got to be the gatekeeper for the answers. All right, pretty simple. Create your own healthy crossword puzzle. Make sure it's healthy. Make sure they're thinking about healthy kind of things, whether it's diet or physical activity. All right, so the healthy crossword puzzle. Now, to the exciting, the best part of the session, and that is the main activity, which is that Build a Boot Camp. Boot camps before were a training camp for military recruits, so they were really rigorous and strenuous. We're not going there, right? We're not trying to make anybody fall out on us, but we want them to have fun and just see how exercising can be fun. All right, so Build a Boot Camp. They're going to build their own boot camp. There are some must-haves. All right, so you've got your team in 2 groups. You can keep them in those same groups or swap it around and create new groups. But 2 groups. In those 2 groups, these are the must-haves for their Build a Boot Camp, because what they're going to do is challenge each other to each other's boot camp, all right, to each other's boot camp routine. So 2 to 3 strengthening activities, and that's for making stronger muscles. All right, 2 to 3 strengthening activities to make stronger muscles. 3 to 4 aerobic activities. Of course, we know what aerobic and cardio does for your body. It keeps that heart, that ticker going, and keeps it strong, keeps the blood pumping. 2 to 3 bone strengthening activities. I bet you don't know what bone strengthening activities do, what the benefits are, but at the end of the day, promotes good bone growth and strength, and this is a great time for them to start doing some of those bone strengthening activities, so they promote good bone strength, all right? And then the last one is just 2 random, again, really creative, 2 obstacle type course elements, 2 obstacles type course elements. That's a tongue twister. So those are the must-have. Those are the 4 must-haves. 2 to 3 strengthening activities, 3 to 4 aerobic activities, 2 to 3 bone strengthening activities, and 2 obstacle course elements. And when you guys get your handout, we give you a bunch of examples. Push-ups, sit-ups are strengthening, sprints and jumping jacks are aerobic, jumping jacks, gymnastics or basketball form of bone strengthening activities, and then obstacle course kind of activities are things that are going over or under or around an obstacle. All right, so just to give you some examples. So I took the liberty, of course, of creating my own, just to kind of give you that example, get your mind going before you come out to session. Mine might look something like this: 10 lunges across the room. All right, 10 lunges across the room. And then maybe when they get to the other room, I might have them do 4 push-ups. Another part is when they get to the next level, they'll have to sprint from one side of the room, going back and forth, going as fast as they can, sprinting back and forth. And then, I forgot to mention all the cool materials we're going to give you. We're going to give you chalk, we're going to give you tape. I don't know if they're cool, but they're different, right? Tennis balls, jump ropes, yarn, buckets, cones, hula hoops. You name it, we're going to give it to you. Again, it's for the kids to get creative. So in mine, I might use the sidewalk chalk, and maybe out on the blacktop or on a sidewalk, a concrete surface somewhere, I'd create these like tire-like circles, right? The tire-like circles, you guys have seen those in all the movies, or in those boot camp films. But anyway, I might do those circles there so they look like tires, or maybe you could do a grid to make it look like a ladder and they're going up the rung of a ladder. But I'd do my chalk with circles, and I'd have them hop through the circles and maybe hop back through the circles like they were going through tires. So just to give you an example of my obstacle course, just some elements of my obstacle course. So really, again, to recap, we really want the kids to really incorporate this and start thinking about this in their development as they're starting to create those routines for the rest of their lives, so hopefully it can be preventative and keep them away from that ugly heart disease and diabetes and high blood pressure and all that bad stuff. We want to keep them away from that. But if they're doing this now and it becomes part of their life and their routine, they'll live happier, healthier lives. The other benefits of being physically active is, again, stronger muscles and bones, maintain a nice healthy weight, not skinny, but just a nice healthy weight. It'll decrease their chances of becoming depressed. I'm always happy because I always work out. They'll feel better about themselves. And I don't know if you knew this, but this is an interesting one. I didn't know this one myself, but it increases your chances of living longer. So wow, I'll do anything I can to live a little longer, right? There's a lot of work to be done in the world. So that's it. So don't forget to focus on the relationships, even though we're talking about health and nutrition. That's still the most important part of mentoring. Relationship, relationship, relationship. Enjoy yourself, have fun, be creative with the kids. It's very recreational in nature. Kids love activities like this, so it should be a good time. So it's Will signing out.